Welcome back to Stamps Old World Us, your dedicated spot for exploring American philately, vintage postal history, and real collector value. Today, we are taking a closer look at a modern high-denomination stamp featuring one of the most stunning national parks in North America, the $7.75 Big Bend National Park Priority Mail Stamp. Released by the United States Postal Service in 2020, this stamp is cataloged by collectors under Scott number 5429 and forms a key part of the American Landmark series. Designed with vibrant, stylized artwork by Dan Cosgrove, it beautifully captures the breathtaking rock walls of Santa Elena Canyon along the Rio Grande. Beyond its artistic appeal, this issue holds a special place in modern US philately due to its high face value and utility on heavy postal mailings. Let us break down the current market value of this piece in US dollars so you know exactly what it is worth today. Because it is a high-denomination priority mail stamp, used copies actually carry a great deal of demand among collectors who assemble complete modern US collections. A single used copy of Scott number 5429 typically sells for around $15 to $25 on the collector market, depending on the clarity of the postmark and condition. If you have a mint, never hinged single in fresh condition, its market value generally ranges between $14 and $32 for collectors who hold full mint panes of 4 or specialized formats. The secondary market value increases significantly. A mint plate block or full pane of 4 usually commands between $65 and $132 depending on the specific retail venue or auction platform. First-day covers featuring the Big Bend stamp are also quite popular, with Fleetwood covers and digital color postmarks selling for roughly $22 to $28. Next up, we are spotlighting an iconic commemorative release from 2010, the 44-cent Scouting issue. Officially issued by the United States Postal Service on July 27, 2010, at Fort A.P. Hill, Virginia. This stamp was released in conjunction with the 100th anniversary of the Boy Scouts of America. Designed by artist Craig Frazier, the artwork features a silhouette of a scout looking through binoculars overlaid against a scout standing triumphantly on a mountain peak. Listed in the Scott catalog under number 4472, this stamp celebrates the timeless spirit, outdoor leadership, and community service embodied by youth scouting programs across the nation when it comes to real market value in US dollars today. Scott number 4472 remains an affordable yet highly popular item for thematic and modern US stamp collectors. Single-used copies generally trade between 50 cents and $1 depending on how clean the cancellation mark is. If you have single mint, never hinged copies, expect a market value of around $1.30 to $2. Because 44-cent stamps can still be used as valid postage to help meet current mailing rates. Mint singles also retain their full face value for discount postage users. For those collecting larger formats, full sheets and specialized collectibles carry additional value on the secondary market. A mint block of 4 usually sells for roughly $4 to $8, while a full original mint pane of 20 stamps typically commands between $25 and $35 depending on the seller platform. First-day covers featuring official cancellation marks from the 2010 release date generally trade between $3 and $6, whether you collect scouting thematic stamps or build comprehensive modern United States collections. This issue is a great piece of modern American history. Next up, we are taking a close look at a beloved modern presidential issue from 2011, the Ronald Reagan Forever stamp, issued by the United States Postal Service on February 10, 2011. At the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library in Simi Valley, California. This stamp commemorated what would have been the 40th president's 100th birthday. Designed by art director Howard Payne, the stamp artwork features a warm oil painting by artist Bart Forbes based on a 1985 photograph of President Reagan at his beloved Rancho del Cielo in California. Listed in the Scott catalog under number 4494. This issue captures Reagan's classic rancher look, complete with his iconic signature rendered in blue along the side. Let us dive into the current market value of this piece in US dollars so you know what it is worth today. Because this is a forever stamp, it retains full face value utility for current postage, making mint copies always worth at least the going first-class mail rate. On the collector and secondary market, a single mint Never hinged copy of Scott number 4494 typically trades between $1 and $2.50, while a clean used single sells for around 50 cents to $1 for collectors interested in larger sheet formats or specialized items. Full panes and covers bring higher market values. A full mint original sheet pane of 20 stamps currently commands between $20 and $35 depending on the seller platform and condition. First day covers bearing the official Simi Valley cancellation mark from February 10, 2011, usually sell for between $3 and $6, whether you focus on US presidential topical collections or build complete modern American sets. The Ronald Reagan Forever stamp is a staple release with lasting popularity. Next up, we are focusing on a memorable release from the United States Postal Service, the 44-cent American flag and Purple Mountain stamp issued in 2010, listed under Scott Catalog number 4303. This piece belongs to the highly popular Flags of Our Nation series, specifically Set 4, which was officially released on April 16, 2010, in New York City. Designed by Howard Payne with illustrations by artist Tom Engman. The artwork prominently showcases the stars and stripes fluttering proudly in the foreground against a striking backdrop of snow-capped Purple Mountain majesties inspired by the Continental Divide. Let us dive into the current market value of Scott number 4303 in US dollars so you know what it is worth today. Issued originally as a self-adhesive coil stamp in rolls of 50, individual used copies carry a modest value, generally trading between 50 cents and $1.50 depending on postmark condition. A single mint, never hinged coil stamp normally sells on the secondary collector market for between $2 and $5, because 44-cent stamps can still be combined with other face value postage on modern packages. Mint copies remain practical and easy to hold. For collectors who collect larger strips or full rolls, the valuation scales up nicely. A mint coil strip of 5 or 10 stamps typically fetches between $8 and $20 depending on the seller platform. Intact, full coil rolls of 50 stamps can range anywhere from $35 to $60 on online auction platforms and stamp dealer websites. First day covers bearing the April 16, 2010 cancellation mark from New York usually trade in the $4 to $8 range. Whether you collect American flag thematic stamps or are assembling the complete Flags of Our Nation set, Scott number 4303 is a colorful classic. Next up, we are stepping outside North America to examine a distinctive international issue, a 2010 propaganda commemorative stamp from the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, or North Korea, issued in Juche year 99, which corresponds to 2010. This 15-1 denomination stamp marks the 60th anniversary of the Chinese People's Volunteer Army entering the Korean War, rendered in a bold socialist realism art style. The design depicts Chinese and Korean soldiers engaged in intense combat, capturing the historic military alliance between Pyongyang and Beijing. Let us discuss the market value of this North Korean issue in US dollars today. Because trade and importation of North Korean items are restricted in several Western markets, pricing on the secondary collector market depends heavily on dealer availability and international online venues. A single mint, never hinged copy of this 2010 15-1 issue generally trades between $2 and $4. A postally used or canceled to order copy typically ranges from $1 to $2.50 for specialized collectors seeking complete presentation formats. Whole souvenir sheets and first day covers command slightly higher valuations. Full mint sheets or souvenir sheets containing this issue usually fetch between $6 and $12 depending on condition and seller location. Official first day covers or thematic military covers featuring this 60th anniversary issue generally sell for around $5 to $10 on international stamp auctions. Whether you collect international, military history, propaganda art, or Asian postal issues, this 2010 North Korean stamp is a fascinating piece of Cold War legacy. Next up, this piece features the 2012 44 Latin Music Latin Dance Series Jive commemorative postage stamp issued by the United States Postal Service. Stamp details: country, United States denomination, 44 subject, Jive Dance Latin Ballroom Dance Series design. High contrast graphic illustration featuring a dancing couple against a colorful geometric background. Next up, we are turning our attention to a classic literary commemorative issue from 1982, the 20-cent Horatio Alger stamp, officially released by the United States Postal Service on April 30, 1982, in Willow Grove, Pennsylvania. This stamp was issued to mark the 150th anniversary of the birth of famous American author Horatio Alger, listed in the Scott catalog under number 2010. The stamp artwork features an engraved illustration in red and black on tan paper depicting characters from his famous 1868 novel, Ragged Dick. Alger was renowned for his popular 19th-century young adult stories centered on newsboys and street urchins achieving the American dream through hard work, integrity, and perseverance. When looking at the market value of Scott number 2010 in US dollars today, it remains an accessible yet highly popular piece for vintage US and literary topical collectors. A single used copy with a postmark typically sells for around 35 cents to 75 cents. A single mint, never hinged copy generally trades on the collector market for between 50 cents and $1, because 20-cent vintage unused stamps are still valid for face value postage. Unused singles are also frequently packaged and sold in crafting or discount mailer bundles for collectors holding intact plate blocks or full sheets. The overall market valuation scales up nicely. A mint plate block of 4 usually sells for roughly $4 to $8 on dealer platforms. Complete original mint sheets containing 50 stamps carry a face value of $10 and generally sell for between $10 and $25 depending on condition and venue. Official first day covers bearing the April 30, 1982 Willow Grove postmark typically trade for around $2 to $5, whether you collect American literary history or build complete sets from the 1980s. The Horatio Alger issue is a wonderful example of vintage United States engraving art. Next up, we are focusing on a landmark release from 2010, the 44-cent Negro Leagues Baseball stamp honoring the legendary pioneer Andrew Rube Foster, issued by the United States Postal Service on July 15, 2010, in Kansas City, Missouri. This issue was part of a 2-stamp set celebrating the rich history and legacy of African American baseball. Cataloged under Scott number 4466, the artwork was created by acclaimed artist Kadir Nelson. It showcases a portrait of Rube Foster, the visionary pitcher, manager, and executive who founded the Negro National League in 1920. Set against an atmospheric baseball stadium background, when looking at current market value in US dollars today, Scott number 4466 remains an affordable and very popular issue among both baseball collectors and Black history topical collectors. A single used copy with a postmark typically sells for around 50 cents to $1. If you have a single mint, never hinged copy, it generally trades on the collector market for between $1 and $2, because 44-cent unused stamps are still valid for face value postage. Mint copies are also used to make up postage rates on larger mailings. For collectors interested in larger sheet formats or complete sets, the market prices scale up nicely. A mint say 10 in pair featuring both Rube Foster and the companion play at the plate design typically sells for $2 to $4. Plate blocks of 4 generally command between $3 and $6. If you hold a complete original mint pane of 20 stamps, the market value ranges between $10 and $15 on dealer websites and online auction platforms. First day covers featuring the official Kansas City cancellation mark usually trade between $3 and $6, whether you collect sports memorabilia, Black heritage issues, or complete modern US stamp sets. The Rube Foster Negro Leagues Baseball stamp is a magnificent piece of American sports heritage. Next up, we are featuring another popular release from the United States Postal Service, the 44-cent New York State flag stamp issued in 2010, cataloged under Scott number 4310. This issue belongs to set 4 of the Expansive Flags of Our Nation series, which was officially released on April 16, 2010, in New York City. Designed by Howard Payne with graphic art by Tom Engman. The design prominently highlights the official New York State flag, fluttering alongside a scene of a fireboat spraying water jets in New York Harbor with the city skyline in the background. Let us examine the current market value of Scott number 4310 in US dollars so you know what it is worth today. Issued in self-adhesive coil rolls of 50 stamps, individual postally used copies generally trade between 50 cents and $1.50 depending on the postmark. A single mint, never hinged coil stamp typically sells on the collector market for between $1.50 and $3. because 44-cent unused stamps can still be combined to meet modern mailing rates. Mint copies also retain practical face value use for collectors holding larger coil strips or intact rolls. The market pricing scales up nicely. A mint coil strip of 5 or 10 stamps usually fetches between $6 and $15 on dealer sites and online auctions. Full intact coil rolls containing 50 stamps generally range from $30 to $55 depending on condition. First day covers canceled on April 16, 2010. In New York City typically sell for around $4 to $8, whether you collect state flag topicals or are working to complete the full flags of our nation set. Scott number 4310 is a great modern collectible. Next up, we are focusing on a highly popular back-of-the-book revenue release, the $5 2010 to 2011 Junior Duck Stamp, issued by the United States Fish and Wildlife Service. This stamp features a stunning male hooded merganser painted by 18-year-old high school artist Rube Huang from Columbus, Ohio. Her artwork won first place out of thousands of youth entries in the national competition, cataloged under Scott number JDS18. This stamp is part of the Federal Junior Duck Stamp Conservation and Design Program, where sales of the $5 stamp directly fund conservation education and environmental programs for students across America. When looking at current market value in US dollars today, Scott number JDS18 remains a very affordable and prized piece for waterfowl, wildlife art, and revenue stamp collectors. A single mint, never hinged copy typically sells on the collector market for between $6 and $12 depending on centering and gum condition. Because these are non-pictorial hunting stamps sold directly to collectors and wildlife supporters, postally used copies are extremely rare. However, mint copies with original backing paper or certificates generally bring around $7 to $15 for specialized collectors interested in larger formats. Full panes and sheets command higher values. A mint plate block or block of for stamps usually sells for roughly $20 to $35 on secondary dealer platforms. Full original mint panes of 30 stamps generally range from $100 to $150 depending on the venue. First day covers or official ceremony covers featuring the 2010 Junior Duck Stamp typically trade in the $10 to $20 range, whether you collect United States revenue issues, wildlife art on stamps, or complete duck stamp series. The 2010 Hooded Merganser issue is a wonderful example of young artistic talent supporting American conservation. Next up, stamp details. Country, Great Britain. United Kingdom Royal Mail issue, airliners celebrating 50 years of passenger jet aviation. Issue date, May 2, 2000 to denomination, first class Diesel featured aircraft, Douglas DC-3. Dakota vintage twin-propeller airliner shown in dynamic flight art with a blue sky background, philatelic identification and catalog number Stanley Gibbons SG. SG2285 Scott catalog, #2049 estimated market value mint used condition, $0.5 $1.5 US full. Set of 5 stamps, $3.0 $6.0 US presentation pack no 334, $5.0 $8.0 USD. Next up, we are taking a close look at an iconic post-World War II military release, the 3-cent Fort Bliss Centennial Stamp issued in 1948. Officially released by the United States Post Office Department on November 5, 1948. In El Paso, Texas, this issue marked the 100th anniversary of the establishment of Fort Bliss, listed in the Scott catalog under number 976. The stamp was printed by the Bureau of Engraving and Printing in a striking henna brown shade using the rotary press process. The central design features a dramatic rocket soaring upward from a launch site, flanked by historic mountain vistas and early military outposts in El Paso, symbolizing the transition of Fort Bliss from a 19th century cavalry post to a modern missile testing facility. Let us break down the current market value of Scott number 976 in US dollars, so you know exactly what it is worth today. Because over 64 million copies of this stamp were issued, it remains an extremely accessible piece for collectors building mid-20th century US collections. A single used copy with a standard cancel typically sells for around 25 to 35 cents on the secondary market. If you have a single mint, never hinged copy with original gum, its market value usually ranges between 40 cents and $1. For collectors who hold larger multiples or intact sheet formats, the market values offer a steady step up. A mint plate block of 4 stamps generally sells for between $1.50 and $3 depending on condition and centering. Full original mint sheets of 70 stamps carry a catalog value of around $20 to $26 and typically sell in the $12 to $20 range on online auction platforms. First day covers bearing the official November 5, 1948 El Paso postmark usually trade for around $2 to $4, whether you collect United States military history, early space and rocketry themes, or classic 1942 engraved issues. The Fort Bliss Centennial stamp is a fantastic collectible. Next up, we are taking a close look at an energetic sports release from 2010, the 44-cent Vancouver Winter Olympics snowboarding stamp, officially issued by the United States Postal Service on January 22, 2010, in Park City, Utah. This stamp was released to celebrate the XXI Olympic Winter Games held in Vancouver, British Columbia. Designed by art director Howard E. Payne with vivid illustrations by artist Steve McCracken. The artwork features a bold, dynamic snowboarder soaring through the air against a bright blue sky, complete with the official Olympic rings and 44-cent denomination, catalogued under Scott number 4436. This stamp captures the high-energy spirit of modern winter sports. Let us dive into the current market value of Scott number 4436 in US dollars so you know what it is worth today. Because 45 million copies of this commemorative issue were printed, it remains an affordable collectible for sports topical and modern US stamp enthusiasts. A single postally used copy typically sells for around 35 cents to 75 cents on the secondary market. If you have a single mint, never hinged copy, its collector market value generally ranges between $1 and $1.80. Since 44-cent unused stamps are still valid for postal face value. Mint copies are also frequently used to make up postage on larger mailings. For collectors holding intact sheet formats or specialized items, the valuation scales up nicely. A mint plate block of 4 stamps usually sells for between $3 and $9 depending on centering and dealer venues. A full, original mint sheet pane of 20 stamps generally trades between $7 and $15 on online platforms. Official first day covers bearing the January 22, 2010. Park City postmark typically sell for around $1.50 to $3, whether you collect Olympic Games memorabilia, extreme sports topicals, or build comprehensive modern United States collections. Scott number 4436 is a colorful and popular release. Next up, we are reviewing a staple of modern United States postal history, the 2002 Flag First Class Mail non-denominated stamp, released by the United States Postal Service on August 19, 2002, to meet the newly adjusted 37-cent first-class letter rate. This issue features a classic graphic illustration of the American flag waving proudly in the breeze, catalogued under Scott number 3632 and its related format variants 36 to 03637 depending on the printer, perforation, and format. This stamp was produced in massive quantities across coils, booklets, and sheet panes to ensure nationwide postal coverage. Let us evaluate the true collector market value for this issue in US dollars today. Because billions of these modern flag stamps were printed and distributed throughout the early 2000s. Individual stamps carry nominal collector premiums unless sold in larger formats. Used condition, a single postally used copy holds negligible standalone market value, typically valued around $0.1 to $5 USD in bulk packet lots. Mint unused single, an unused mint self-adhesive single retains its face value for postage of 37 USD. With individual collector retail pricing around $0.5 1 to $5 USD. Mint plate number coil PNC strips. A mint plate number coil strip of 5 generally trades between $1.5 $3.0 USD depending on the specific plate number combination, full sealed booklets or panes. Intact booklet panes or full coil rolls are primarily valued at or slightly above their face postage value $7, $40, $15.0 USD depending on count. First day cover FED. An official first day cover bearing the August 19, 2002 postmark typically trades between $1.5 $3.0 USD if you collect modern US definitive issues, plate number coils, or patriotic topicals. Scott number 3632 remains a clean piece of early 2000s postal history. Next up, we are examining the companion piece to the non-denominated version, the 37-cent flag stamp issued in 2002. Released by the United States Postal Service on July 26, 2002. In Longview, Texas, this stamp was issued to reflect the explicit face value of the 37-cent first-class letter rate, featuring the iconic artwork of the stars and stripes fluttering against a crisp white background. This version bears the numeric denomination 37 and the date 2002 in the bottom left corner, listed across Scott numbers 3629 through 3637 depending on the printer, perforation type, and format, including coil, booklet, and pane variations. This release saw billions of copies printed for nationwide mailings. Let us discuss the current market value of this 37-cent flag stamp in US dollars so you know what it is worth today. Because of its massive production run, individual stamps carry nominal collector premiums. Though unused copies remain fully valid for face value postage, a single postally used copy holds very little standalone value, usually selling for around 10 cents to 25 cents in bulk packets or mixture lots. A single mint, never hinged copy generally trades on the secondary market for between 50 cents and $1.25. For collectors looking at larger formats, values step up proportionally. A mint plate block or block of 4 stamps usually sells for roughly $2 to $4. Intact booklet panes or full coil rolls are primarily valued near or slightly above face value, trading between $7 and $15 depending on the exact count. Official first-day covers bearing the July 26, 2002 postmark typically trade for around $1.50 to $3, whether you collect modern definitive series, plate number coils, or American flag topicals. This 2002 37-cent flag stamp is a recognizable classic of 21st century US mail history. Thank you for watching Stamps Old World US. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to stay updated on all our latest stamp price guides, and leave a comment below to let us know if you have this 37-cent issue in your collection.